foreign investment is going out of India. Indians are going out of India. Less than 1% of us pay taxes. If the rest 99% are taxed, will the government lose its vote bank? 50% of my money is taxed. The GDP growth is at a 4-year low. The 2025 budget, it's not just numbers, it's your future. Will Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman give you a lifeline or let you sink? No tax for 10 lakhs? 25% tax bracket? We aspire to be the third largest economy. The taxpayers are in despair. भाई कहाँ जा रही है इकोनॉमी यार? So hello guys, welcome to a special episode of Influenced, जहाँ हम बात करेंगे the finance budget of 2025. So let's get started. भाई यार टैक्स का बहुत झमेला है, सब लोग बात करते हैं भाई, मगर मैं तुमको बता रहा हूँ एक चीज़. मैंने अभी थोड़ा रिसर्च किया. Less than 1% of us pay almost 80% of the taxes, or all the taxes actually देखा जाए, and वो 1% में से 0.3% पे 80% of the tax. तो अगर तुम 30% tax bracket में हो तो you can say कि 45 to 50% of my income is getting taxed, either directly or indirectly. मेरी already taxed income से मैं अगर कुछ खरीदूंगा मैं उसमें जीएसटी भरूंगा. अगर मैं उससे कुछ नहीं खरीदूं, उससे इन्वेस्ट करूं, तो इन्वेस्टमेंट पे अगर मेरा गेन होता है तो मैं उस पे कैपिटल गेन्स भरूंगा. बिजनेस में उससे शुरू कर नहीं सकता, क्योंकि भाई अगर मैं बिजनेस शुरू करने जाऊं तो भाई द ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस इन इंडिया इज सो बैड. मैं मतलब उसके लिए तो अलग ही वीडियो बननी पड़ेगी भाई. लेकिन ये देख लेते हैं कि हमारे पास न्यूज क्या है. न्यूज बोले तो रूमर. अपेरेंटली ऑल द मीडिया हाउसेज आउट देयर गॉट एक्सक्लूसिव न्यूज एट द same time that there is going to be a new 25% tax slab and the base exemption limit of income tax is going to go up to 10 lakh rupees. लेकिन देखो बजट से एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या है. देखो हम लोग यू एंड आई जो अपने बेडरूम में बैठ के यूट्यूब देख रहे हैं और मैं जो यूट्यूब वीडियो बना रहा हूँ, वी आर अ पार्ट ऑफ अ वेरी स्मॉल सेक्शन ऑफ द इंडियन इकोनॉमी. Majority of the Indian economy is still either farmers or are in any other profession which may or may not even come into the base tax slab. So the budget does not revolve around the middle class. The budget actually revolves around either the lower to the middle class जिनका सबसे ज़्यादा population है, या फिर who are upwards of the middle class जो donation देते हैं allegedly. देखो इनकम टैक्स में तो रिफॉर्म बहुत ज़रूरी है. We need a total reform of the direct tax code and that is what is our expectation. Will there be any changes in the new and old tax regime so that the government puts more money in our hands is a question. And you know why? Because there are so many different data points that you need to look at. You see, inflation in India is high and that has caused so many different events that has happened across the country. For example, foreign institutional investors have gone out of India. They have exited their positions from Indian economy and either gone back to the US or have invested in other alternative emerging economies like China or Vietnam. Why? Because our taxes on capital gains was eating into their gains and our inflation was actually so high that they were not able to offset their investment with respect to their local currency. Magar when the US reduced their interest rates, usually all countries follow to be at par with the reduction in interest rates. But India could not follow because India में inflation बहुत high है. And कैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ, अगर तुम interest rates reduce करोगे तो लोगों की loan EMIs कम हो जाएंगी, interest rates adjust हो जाएंगे, जिससे लोगों के हाथ में पैसा मिलेगा और and they will have surplus to spend. Magar on the other side, businesses will be able to take loans at a cheaper rate. Therefore, they will have money to expand their business and therefore generate more demand in the economy. So demand भी बढ़ रहा है, supply भी बढ़ रहा है, and demand supply जब दोनों एक साथ बढ़ता है ना, तब competition बढ़ता है and therefore inflation rises. So while inflation is already high, you cannot reduce interest rate. The other alternative is to give more money in the hands of taxpayers who are very little so that they can spend more. And how can they do that? By reducing the direct taxes. So by reducing direct taxes, you are giving spending power to a small chunk of your economy, जिससे क्या है कि हाँ, there will be impact on inflation, but that will be minimal if you look at the bigger picture, if you look at the grand scheme of things. So this will reduce the impact on inflation yet drive some GDP growth. The finance ministry should be focusing on the direct tax code and on the reforms in the capital gains structures of equities and other capital assets. Last budget में capital gains बढ़ा दिए गए थे. Short term was risen from 15% to 20%. Long term capital gains was risen from 10% to 12.5%. जो मैं देख रहा हूँ, there's speculation and even I am of the thought कि you should promote long-term capital investment. And long-term capital investment को अगर promote करना है तो you have to reduce upfront taxes on it and also increase the base exemption limit. So these are certain expectations from the taxpayers, but from the overall growth of economy, from the futuristic sector, what should we expect from the budget? We should drive growth in our manufacturing sector. India should convert from being a service-driven economy to a manufacturing-driven economy because it will generate much more jobs. And this kind of a fundamental change cannot happen overnight or cannot be done by one single private company. This has to be done by a strong backbone support by the government. And futuristic and upcoming sectors should be incentivized to do innovation, research and development and skill development. For example, EVs, we need to incentivize to develop charging infrastructure, battery technology, all in the domestic economy. We should stop importing. Everything in this futuristic sector should happen inside of India, thereby creating more jobs, driving economy, driving consumption. Similarly, for solar industry, for renewable energy sources, the entire value chain should come inside of India. Everything from innovation to manufacturing to consumption happens inside of India. We need to take our trade deficit down. When manufacturing increases in India, if there is excess supply, the excess supply can be exported, thereby generating a trade surplus. एक और चीज है healthcare and insurance affordability. Healthcare inflation is off the charts. The GST needs to be thought through on healthcare instruments and insurance. Or insurance for that matter is one of the most underpenetrated products in India. To encourage deeper penetration of insurance products, the government needs to think through taxation on them. These are certain aspects that I think that needs to be addressed and acknowledged in the union budget of 2025. If you have some points that I have missed, please comment down below. And one thing that I would like to say is that you and I can sit in a bedroom and talk about how finance ministry should and should not work. But while researching this video, I found out that it is a very difficult thing to do. You really cannot make everybody happy if you are the finance minister. While I have a soft spot for that because I did my research, I understand your pain as a taxpayer myself. I mean, I myself took all of this information to a large language model and then tried to summarize all of that. You should do this too, to understand there are so many aspects that one needs to think about. I believe that people in the finance ministry of the largest democracy in the world, arguably, don't go there, bhai, don't go there, are actually smart people. And while you and I can do all the commentary we want on their decisions and what they should or should not do based on our own benefits and biases, you really need to think about it objectively. And I believe that this video does not turn out to be a politically biased video, but as an objective thought of how a young investor and how a young taxpayer looks towards the Indian economy and hopes for the best. Because if our hopes are crushed, just like the foreign investors are going out of India, if the taxation is not rationalized, even the Indian in-house investors and even the citizens may go out of India, which is already happening today, but tomorrow they may be forced to. So with that, I leave you there. We'll see you in week 1 of Influenced for February. Till that time, bye.